Hi, Catherine. This is Ellen. Let's take a look and see what you have written here in your latest set of essays. This is about online communication versus face-to-face communication. So let's see what you said. The issue of digital conference in the workplace has been a sensitive topic for decades, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Although this is an inevitable trend which can improve working efficiency, it must not completely replace physical meeting. This essay will analyze both issues using an example from the UK government and the University Studies Survey. Okay, for the most part, I thought this was good. I like the structure, it's concise. You had a nice introductory sentence, a sentence that kind of shows us where the dilemma is, and then a sentence where you lay out what the essay is about. So all of that's fine. However, there are a couple of things that I would change here just to make it maybe a little more natural sounding grammatically and lexically as well. So I want to read it again, this time making some changes. I didn't really like this digital conference. That felt a little strange to me. Um, it's not really a natural collocation. We wouldn't say it. So maybe digital communication would have been better. I know that communication is used here, but it's okay. I mean, you don't have to replace every single word. So I think that would have been okay. So let's try that. And then I also don't really agree with this. If you think about it, online communication is a relatively new phenomenon. Maybe at most, I don't know, maybe how long have we been using email in the workplace? Or, I mean, yeah, or chat even, at least maybe 20 years or so. So I don't know if decades is maybe overstretching it. You could have said for a number of years. So let's try this. The issue of digital communication in the workplace has been a sensitive topic for a number of years, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think that sounds better. Although this is an inevitable trend, is the word you want, you don't need a comma, which can improve work efficiency, it must not completely replace. I don't really physically meeting. How about, again, we change this? It must not completely replace in-person meetings. That would work. This essay will analyze both issues using an example from the UK government and the University Studies Survey. This felt a little strange to me. The way you wrote the here, it's as if there's only one University Studies Survey, so that's a little strange. Maybe you wanted to say, and which university? Just any university? So why don't we try this? And a Harvard University study. That works. Okay. So I guess primarily it's vocabulary that is the issue here. I said it was a little bit of grammar and vocabulary, but looking at it again, it's actually vocabulary which has some issues. So be aware of that and work on that a little bit. All right, let's see what you wrote here. Is this one paragraph? What's going on here? It's one paragraph. It feels rather long. And what's going on here? In comparison, your second paragraph, take a look at this. I'm not going to do a line count, but you can tell this is the second body paragraph, okay? And then this is the first paragraph, so it's considerably longer. All right, there's no question about that. Let's see. Since the impact of COVID-19, there is ample evidence that online communication at work can provide flexibility and productivity. Now, you don't want the word impact here. You want to say since the appearance of, since the onset of, onset would have been a nice word. So let's try that. Since the onset of COVID-19, there is ample evidence that online communication at work can provide flexibility and productivity. This is because it allows employers to contact their clients, no with, and I don't understand this. What do you mean collaborative entrepreneurs? Do you mean that people they work with? You could have just called them collaborators, or you could have called them colleagues. I knew that would have been all right. So it allows employers to contact their clients and colleagues without geographical barriers or becoming infected. Okay. with the advanced technical function of meeting programs such as flawless connectivity and multiple mini applications, people can now organize a meeting without attending in a particular spot, not two. For example, the UK government studies showed that with you don't need to say that with the implementing. You could say, let's see, UK government studies showed that through implementation of new conference technologies, that was one way you could set it. That was one way you could have said it. Or let's see. The UK government studies showed that by implementing new conference technologies, 82% of the UK home workers continued to work productively during the crisis. An additional benefit to communicating virtually is that it reduces unnecessary expenses such as traveling, tickets, accommodations, and rental venues, which may be the essential expenditure for arranging. Let's try it again. Traveling, tickets, accommodations, and rental venues, which may be required when attending a traditional conference. This viewpoint was echoed by the survey of executives from 1,000 companies by research from Harvard University. Those participants agree that using web conference systems is more cost-effective compared to physical meetings. Therefore, it is clear that there is a considerable favor. That's a wrong word here. There is a considerable preference of using online techniques in the workplace. All right, so essentially it was a lot of vocabulary here. There was some grammar, but it was mostly vocabulary that I saw. I also felt like you had too many ideas in this paragraph. Yes, it's good to develop fully, but it was almost too much. As far as I can tell, you had 3 rather developed ideas. So you were talking here about how great it is, this advanced technology. You don't have to be in one particular place. Then here you started talking about the expenditures, right? Or maybe it was just 2. It felt like more. I felt like you had like 3 main ideas. Maybe I missed one. Okay. In any case, it did feel rather long. I thought maybe you could have taken some of this out. All right. So let's continue with the next paragraph. And the reason I'm saying that is because there is such a big difference between your 2 paragraphs, and you don't want it to appear that you are not treating both sides of the argument equally. So that's why I'm pointing this out. Let's look at the next paragraph. With the advent of ever-changing, I don't know where I saw changing. With the advent of ever-increasing digitization, computation, and artificial intelligence, it is challenging for the online service as well. I don't know what that means. What do you mean it is challenging for the online service? What is it? What online service? Due to technical issues, there is a risk of exposing personal information as well as the possibility of it being plagiarized online. Furthermore, applying virtual meetings may weaken the relationship between, not applying, how about conducting? Conducting virtual meetings may weaken the relationship between colleagues, which could even negatively impact profitability. For example, if the employees were not highly concentrated during an online conference, they may not hand in a qualified project, which will result in the loss of revenue for the company. All right, you don't mean highly concentrated. That's the wrong word again. One of the largest drawbacks to such technology is a lack of interaction and cybersecurity. However, these issues can be solved by upgrading online service and supervision. Okay, I don't know that I really like that last sentence. It's like you're telling me what all the negatives are, and then you're like, hey, well, you know what? It's not that bad. So that feels like you're kind of switching sides here. I don't really love that as a tactic, as a strategy. It's good to, if you're just going to focus on the negatives of something, focus just on the negatives of it. All right, let's see. The advantages of digital meetings are invaluable, for they provide limitless spaces and time for working. Nevertheless, the role of traditional forms must not be completely neglected, for it would enhance comprehension and cooperation in a trust-based workplace. All right, that's fine. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at one thing. To the advantages of this. Now, let me tell you where I think you might have gotten a little off track in this essay. Look at this. It says online communication is now more common than face-to-face meetings. So what is it telling us? It's telling us that we communicate a lot more online than we do face-to-face. Okay, so the advantages of this, are they stronger than the disadvantages of this? Let me see if I can rephrase it. This is not an advantages and disadvantages of online communication or of in-person meetings. That's oversimplifying it. This is asking you something a little more complex. They are assuming that we are doing a lot more work online and communicating online than we do face-to-face. Does that have advantages or does that have negatives? Which are more? Okay, so they're already telling you that the balance is skewed towards online communication. Is that a good thing that we're doing more of it than we are face to face, or is that a bad thing? So that's what you're supposed to be talking about here. And I'm finding that a lot of people don't really quite get that, okay? That it's this imbalance that they want to know about. Most people treat this essay much like you did, where it's like, oh, this is what's good about online communication. Oh, this is what's bad about it. That's not really what they're trying to say. Okay? You have to be it's about framing it correctly. So that needs to be worked on a little bit. But for me, I'd probably say that my biggest comment would be about your vocabulary. I know that you tried to use some nice higher level stuff, but some of the vocabulary really just comes off unnatural, and it doesn't feel like, it doesn't create collocations. Predominantly, that's where I saw it. It doesn't create collocations that feel natural and that feel like high level. So I want you to work on those a little bit, okay? All right, so let's take a look at your pie chart. Don't forget, please include the pie chart in your document, okay? It's very helpful to me. Let's see. The pie chart shows the distribution of popular subjects in a German school in 2017. According to the statistics, physical education was the most popular subject in the school at that time, representing about 22.9%, followed by history, which was 0.5, slightly less. Okay. There was a percentage of 19.5 of total participants voted to math as their favorite subject. Likewise, the number voted to physics were broadly similar, constituted to 18.1. All right, you've got some problems here grammatically and vocabulary. First of all, when you come up with a number like this, 22.9, this is rather precise. So there's no reason to say about. You could have said about if the number you gave us was 23%. That would have been okay. So representing 22.9%, followed by history, which was 0.5% less. Get rid of slightly. And then here's where your sentence got rather strange and grammatically and lexically didn't work. So there was a percentage of 19.5% of total participants who voted math as their favorite subject. Full stop. Likewise, comma, the percentage, or how about this? The figure which voted physics, okay, so likewise, the figure which voted for physics was broadly similar at 18.1, okay? Compared to science programs, students who agreed that biology and geography were popular had only half of the previous figure. I wouldn't say had only. I would probably say accounted for only half of the previous figure, making up 7.1 and 6.4% respectively. Meanwhile, only 3.7% of students stated that IT was their favorite, representing the least percentage regarding the categories of other subjects. Okay, fine. Overall, amongst the PE, So overall, Amongst the 7 subjects, PE and history made up the largest proportion of popularity in a German school in that period, while IT was the least popular subject amongst the others. Okay, that's fine. So this was pretty good. On the whole, I like what you're doing with it. But, I just wanted to change around some of the grammar, some of the vocabulary again, so that can give you an idea about what you can do with this past one. Okay, go ahead, correct these. Let's see more work from you. Let's see you apply some of these suggestions in your next set. And we'll meet back here with your next set of essays. Good luck.